What is photojournalism? It is an art of taking pictures for publication in newspapers and other periodicals. Since it is an art and science, or it is intended for publication, therefore, the images or the photos must be truthful. And since it is an art, there must be clarity of your objective, of what should be included in your photos. And research your information well. Another, communicating with pictures. Through pictures, we see other places. We live in a new light and reveal our neighbors in a new way. Also, it refers the reporting of a wide range of subjects and events of public interest, usually for newspapers and magazines through photographs. From those ideas, therefore, in photojournalism, we have the image, specifically the striking image. We have the text plus data gathering. If we're going to combine striking image plus data gathering, that would be equal to news. So therefore, in photojournalism, we inform the public. We give news. We report, carry the scene to the readers, whether they are thousands of miles away or just down the street, to show them something they might not have had a chance to see themselves. In publication and in the competition of photojournalism, we have to consider the two aspects. We have the technical value, so meaning you have to set your resolution high. Photo must be perfect, free from smudges and clear. The control of the aperture, the shutter speed, the depth of field. Simply put, your photo must be clear. Second, we have the editorial value, the content, the concept. How is it related to the topic given or to the theme? Referring to the composition, the arrangement of subject. Okay. So what makes a good picture? We have simplicity. The picture is not crowded or cluttered. Less purpose is to show how big the crowd is. So rarely should have more than 5 people in a picture. Anything distracting to the picture should be eliminated. Anything that helps a picture tell a story, of course, should be included. Second, the so-called focal point. The purpose of the focal point is the audience or the viewer's eyes should be drawn to the main subject. Viewers should not have their eyes pulled in 3 or 4 directions. Instead, it should be drawn to the main subject. We have action. Both in publication and competition of photojournalism, no matter in action. Well, in almost cases, a picture of people doing something will be much better than one in which a person is staring into the camera. Another, we have the subject. A good photojournalist seeks variety in subjects. You have the young and old, the garish and the plain, the ordinary and the extraordinary. In the competition, the subject must be related to the topic given. Even if you have a very good photo, but if it is not related to the topic or subject given, the photo will be irrelevant. You have the technical quality. The picture must be in focus without blur caused by camera movement. For the technical, the picture needs sharp, clear difference between the various light and dark shades. So as early as now, you should expose your photojournalist to master the skills in handling the camera for at least ang iyang photo very blurred. Because it really affects to the judging if the photos are blurred. Story. The picture may show gloom or ecstasy, pleasure or pain, success or failure, interest or boredom, but the picture usually tells more. Another, we have the mood. A picture should capture the mood of the event. Another aspect, you have the truth. Picture should give an honest account of what happened. Well, basically, in the ethics, which will be discussed after this, photo must be truthful because we're informing the public. The size. Unless a published picture is big enough to see easily, the message probably is lost. The shape of the picture can also help the reader to get to the point at glance. The size doesn't mean a layouting, bigger in size, referring to the picture. But the size that we are referring is focusing on the subject. Like a vertical picture of a four-story school building, for example, would have more impact than a horizontal shot. A vertical picture of a jubilant fans running onto the football field would look out of proportion. Beauty, another. Sometimes the purpose of the picture is not only to convey news or information, but only to show beauty, like in beauty pageant, the grace of a cheer dancer, or a field waving golden rice. But what really is the factor affecting the quality of pictures? It is basically the taking of pictures. Be sure to know the workmanship of your camera, its every part and function. And there is a need for mind-eyes coordination of taking pictures. The photojournalist should make it sure that the angle he is taking is a newsy one. And again, it should be related to the topic given. Considering the two aspects, the very important aspects, the technical value and the editorial value. What are the elements of composition that can control the look of the photos? Again, many times I've been saying this. These elements of composition are more of the additives. They can enhance or control the look of the photos. But make sure to always consider the subject matter, which is related to the topic given. Even if you have these elements of composition, if there is no clarity of your subject, your photo will be irrelevant. Texture. This is a two-dimensional thing, yet with clever use of texture, they can come alive and become almost three-dimensional. Usually we make it to the point that this part will be the background or the foreground, depending on the positioning of the camera or depending on the taking of pictures. Selective focus. In selective focus, the subject is clear. Foreground or background, and background is blurred. Just keep in mind what you want the focus to be. Will the background, the foreground, or anything in between detract from your subject? Oftentimes, simpler is better. Negative space, the negative space, it is the space around the subject, can help balance the picture, or it can be distracting, drawing the eye away from the subject. Just like with the pictures. Your focus is on the subject. Background, the foreground, blurred. Your eyes is being drawn to the main subject. That is the purpose of selective focus. Framing. By the way, we mean here the natural frames. Using hands is not anymore allowed. Ganon. You can bring attention to your subject by placing around it. Use elements within the picture itself, such as the natural frames, the windows, door frames, branches, or etc. You have to look for elements around you that would make a good frame. Linear perspective. Again, don't forget always to consider the subject. That is your primary consideration before the elements and compositions of styles. Lines. Lines in a photograph can lead the eye to the focal point. Slightly tilting the angle of the camera can make the lines more effective. Most every picture has one or more shapes in it. To make a photograph more interesting, you can change the composition to highlight the shape differently, like moving it to the side rather than centering it. You can also look for repeating shapes in a scene as an indicator that it might make an interesting image. Repeating shapes or patterns add a little flavor to your pictures. Feel like that would make your picture too busy? You might probably ask, well, if there will be repeating shapes, my picture, wala na siyang focus. Well, it is actually easier to focus on what is simple. So a repeating pattern may lead a person to your simple subject. Rule of thirds, the commonly used element of composition. The application of this, imagine dividing the scene into thirds, both horizontally and vertically. Make the focal point of your photograph land near one of the intersections. Or say, simply put, place the subject in any of the intersections. This will be more visually pleasing than centering your subject, because placing the subject on the center is what we call the dead picture. But well, that is the general rule. You can break the rule, especially if even if the subject is on the center, but if your photo is striking, pwede, depende yan sa perspective din. Silhouette. Silhouette is a powerful way to tell a story and convey mood, emotion, and drama. Its purpose is to test whether the character's basic design reads to the audience. From silhouette, we are able to see a distinctive and recognizable design without details and understand what the figure is saying with its overall form. Okay. Then perspective. When we speak of perspective, it is the angle that you shoot from can significantly affect the drama of a photograph. Usually, pag perspective, commonly used, nagtitake tayo ng photo sa center, especially elementary. Puro ginagawa nila, taking a photo sa center, center, center. But there is another way of taking photos aside from the center. You have to try moving, or you have to train your photojournalist moving around your subject and shooting from different angles. Train your photojournalist to experiment with shooting upwards or shooting downwards. Shooting down, in effect, shooting down can make your subject seem more submissive. While shooting up, make the subject seem dominant. It's the bird's eye view. Then the world's eye view. Bird's eye view, you're taking picture from the top down, while world's eye view, down up. That's the perspective. Juxtaposition. Using opposite alongside each other can make your photograph more interesting. It's really the opposites. Wrinkly skin next to a baby's skin, salt and pepper, tennis shoes and heels, and those as shared in the screen. Uh, More tips in using the elements. Again, this are just only an additives. You have to focus on the technical and the editorial value. Primary consideration on the technical and editorial, considering also the subject. Train your photojournalist to comprehend the comprehension skills on the topic provided. Immediately have to train them to think of what should be, well, kung ano yung pipicturan on giving, upon receiving the theme or the topic. At isipan kung ano yung pwede kong maging subject na hindi siya magiging irrelevant, considering the technical, editorial, and para mas ibanda, apply the elements and the techniques.